Have you ever had that feeling where you wake up at, say, 3 in the morning and your big toe feels like it's being crushed in a vice?
Oh, it's an unmistakable pain.
Right. I mean, not just a little sore. I mean, even the weight of a bedsheet touching it makes you want to scream. If you know, you know.
It's gout.
That is the excruciating reality of gout. And if you've been to a doctor for it, you've probably been handed the standard playbook.
It's almost a script.
It is. Put down the steak, say goodbye to the shrimp, absolutely no beer. You know, avoid the fun stuff, avoid the purines, avoid the pain.
That is the standard advice. And for decades, patients have followed it religiously and, well, they're often quite miserable in the process.
Exactly. But here's the twist, and honestly, this blew my mind when I was going through the research we have for today. You could be following that rule book perfectly, cutting out every single piece of red meat, and your uric acid levels could still be exploding.
Because you're missing the real culprit.
Because the hidden trigger might not be the savory stuff on your dinner plate. It might be the healthy glass of juice you had for breakfast.
That's where the science is pointing.
So today, we aren't just talking about diet. We are exploring the molecular link between what you drink, how your liver processes energy, and why that fruit juice might be destroying your joints.
It's a fascinating area because it really forces us to rethink metabolic health entirely. It's not just about one ingredient, it's about how the liver manages energy.
And to help us navigate this, I am thrilled to be joined by a true expert in the field, technologist Dr. Rama Yusvana, a chartered biologist of the UK Royal Society of Biology and senior lecturer at Tun Hussein on University of Malaysia, or UTHM. Welcome to the deep dive.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And I think we need to start by reframing the problem a bit.
Okay.
Hyperuricemia, which is just the medical term for high uric acid, is not just about a painful toe. It's really a warning light on the dashboard for the entire body's metabolic health.
A warning light. Okay, let's unpack that. Because usually when people think gout, they think King's disease, right?
Right. Henry VIII, rich food.
Rich food, too much wine. But the papers we are looking at describe something called the Low-Purine paradox. That just sounds like a cruel joke. What exactly is that?
It does sound unfair, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a very real clinical observation.
So what's happening?
The low-purine paradox happens when a patient is diagnosed with gout or high uric acid. They're told to stop eating purine-rich foods, you know, the red meat and seafood. So they stop.
They do what they're told.
But humans have a biological mandate. We need calories. We need energy. So when you take the steak off the plate, what usually replaces it?
Well, if I can't have the steak, I'm probably pivoting to comfort foods, pasta, bread, maybe some processed snacks to fill the void.
Precisely. They replace that protein with refined carbohydrates and processed foods. And this is where the trap snaps shut.
How so?
Because in the modern food industry, those processed foods, and especially those sweet drinks, they're just loaded with fructose.
And the numbers on this are staggering. I was looking at the historical data in our sources. Historically, humans consumed maybe, 16 to 24 grams of fructose a day?
Yes, just from natural stuff like fruit, when it was in season.
But today,
in the modern Western diet, that number has skyrocketed to approximately 80 grams per day.
80. That is a massive jump.
It is. In the US, it's estimated that about 17 to 20% of daily energy intake now comes from fructose alone.
Wow.
So the irony is painful. In trying to avoid the purines in meat to save their joints, patients are loading up on the very sugar that triggers their body to produce uric acid internally.
That is the gotcha moment. You think you're being good with the low meat diet, but you're actually fueling the fire from a different direction.
A direction most people don't even know exists.
But I want to play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say I'm listening to this and I don't have gout. My toes are fine. Why should I care if my uric acid is a little high? Is it really a problem if there's no pain?
That is the so what question, and it's vital. You should care, because high uric acid is rarely flying solo. It travels with a pack of other problems. We call this metabolic syndrome.
Okay, so what are the numbers? At what point should I be looking at my blood work and getting a little worried?
Medically, we define hyperuricemia as anything greater than 6 milligrams per deciliter for premenopausal women and greater than 7 for men or postmenopausal women.
And if you're above those numbers?
If you're above those numbers, even without joint pain, your body is struggling.
And the sources mention this relationship is bidirectional, which implies it's a two-way street.
Exactly. High uric acid isn't just a symptom of poor health. It can actually trigger other diseases. The data is quite clear on this.
How clear?
Hypertensive patients, so people with high blood pressure, are twice as likely to develop gout. And if we look at it the other way, 74% of gout patients have hypertension.
74%. That is a huge correlation.
And 53% are obese. It's all connected.
But help me understand the mechanism. How does a crystal in my toe cause high blood pressure in my arm?
It happens in the blood vessels themselves. High uric acid reduces something called endothelial nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide is crucial. It's what tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. When uric acid reduces it, the vessels stay tight and constricted.
So it's literally squeezing your circulatory system.
In a manner of speaking, yes. It increases what we call systemic resistance. So it links obesity, hypertension, kidney health, insulin resistance. It's not just about the joint.
That puts a whole new perspective on it. It's not just an old person's toe pain. It's a sign your entire metabolism is in distress.
It's a systemic alarm.
Now, before we get into the really deep science of how sugar turns into this acid, because that involves some wild enzymology, I want to take a brief moment.
Of course.
I want to mention something really unique for our listeners who are academically inclined. If you're fascinated by biotechnology and finding new ways to treat these kinds of diseases, you can actually pursue master or PhD research studies under the supervision of Dr. Rama Yuzvana or his colleagues at UTHM.
Yes, we are very open to this. We're specifically looking at research into herb-based medicinal alternatives to minimize the impact of these disease-causing agents.
And it's flexible, right?
It is. A key point is that the data collection and analysis can often be done in your home country or research institution.
Well, that is an incredible opportunity. If you want to be part of the solution and do some serious science, definitely look into that. Okay, let's get back to the chemistry.
The fun part.
Because this is the part that really surprised me. We've established that fructose is the villain here. But why? Glucose is sugar, fructose is sugar. Why does the liver hate one and tolerate the other?
It all comes down to how they are processed. Think of your liver like a busy intersection with traffic cops.
Okay, I'm with you.
When glucose arrives, say, from a potato, there's a traffic cop. It's regulated by an enzyme called phosphofructokinase.
Phosphofructokinase, that is a mouthful.
It is, but you can just think of it as a smart brake.
A smart brake.
Yes. If your cells have enough energy, this enzyme tells the glucose metabolism to stop. It says, we're full, turn back. It's a negative feedback loop.
Okay, so glucose has a safety valve. It prevents overfilling the tank.
Exactly. Fructose does not.
At all.
Fructose metabolism is handled by a different enzyme called fructokinase, or KHK. And KHK has no negative feedback system.
No brakes.
No brakes. It is like a car speeding downhill with a brick on the accelerator. When you consume a large amount of fructose, the liver processes it as fast as it physically can. It doesn't care if the cell needs energy or not.
And what happens when the liver goes full speed like that?
It causes an energy crash. The process is so fast that it completely depletes the cell's ATP.
And ATP is the energy currency of the cell, right?
It's the battery. The liver burns through its energy reserves just trying to process all the incoming fructose.
So you drink a soda to get energy, but internally you're actually draining your liver's battery.
That is a perfect way to put it. And here is the direct connection to gout.
This is the key.
When that ATP is depleted, the body has to break down the degradation products. It activates an enzyme called AMP deaminase. And the byproduct of that breakdown is uric acid.
Wow. So eating sugar literally creates acid waste because your liver panics and burns out its energy supply.
Correct. And this depletion of energy also triggers inflammation and oxidative stress. In fact, some researchers note this process is similar to the Warburg effect.
The Ward effect?
The Warburg effect. It's a metabolic shift usually associated with how cancer cells burn energy. It creates a very hostile, inflammatory environment in the body.
That is terrifying. It's not just empty calories, it's metabolic chaos.
It is.
So let's make this practical. I want to picture myself in the grocery store aisle. I'm standing there, and on my left, I have a bag of apples. On my right, a bottle of apple juice. They both have fructose. Is the apple just as bad?
No, and this is what we call the juice paradox. The apple is generally fine. The difference is the delivery system.
The fiber.
The fiber, yes, but also vitamins, flavonols. The fiber, especially, slows down the absorption of fructose in your gut. It just trickles into the liver, so the liver isn't overwhelmed.
So the brakes in that case are mechanical. It's the fiber slowing things down before it even hits the liver.
Exactly. But the juice, or a soda, that is liquid fructose. It hits the liver all at once, causing that ATP depletion we just discussed.
And the concentration is different too, I assume.
Oh, massively. The data is quite striking here. an apple contains about 7.6% fructose. But if you look at a processed drink like Pepsi, or even some processed fruit juices, up to 60% of the sugar content can be fructose.
60%? That is wildly high.
Yes, and interestingly, studies show that diet soft drinks, the ones with sweeteners but no fructose, are not linked to high uric acid.
Which proves it's the fructose.
It proves that it isn't just soda that is the problem. It is specifically the fructose molecule.
That is such a crucial distinction. It really does come down to the speed of ingestion. Liquid sugar is like a flash flood for your liver.
A flash flood is a great analogy.
So if we accept that the old low-purine diet is flawed because people end up eating sugar, and we know fructose is a metabolic grenade, what is the solution? What should people actually be eating?
Well, the current literature strongly suggests moving away from a strict low-purine diet and towards something like the DSH diet or the Mediterranean diet.
DSH stands for dietary approaches to stop hypertension,
Yeah.
right?
And the Mediterranean diet is, well, it's well known for its focus on whole foods. The reason these work better is that they focus on metabolic balance, not just avoiding one ingredient.
Oh, okay.
They're high in fiber from vegetables and whole grains. And as we mentioned, fiber modifies fructose absorption.
So you're fixing the root mechanism, not just treating the symptom.
Correct. And these diets are also rich in antioxidants, which help reduce the inflammation and oxidative stress caused by the uric acid that's already there.
I do have to ask about one specific thing with the Mediterranean diet, though. It usually allows for wine. I thought alcohol was a big no-no for gout.
That is a nuance we have to be careful with. The research indicates that while wine doesn't raise uric acid levels chronically the way beer does,
Why is beer so bad?
beer is very rich in guanosine, which is a type of purine. Wine isn't. However, any alcohol can still trigger acute attacks.
So even if it's not raising your baseline, it can set off a flare-up.
Precisely. So if you are prone to gout, you still need to be very cautious with wine, even on a Mediterranean diet.
Got it. So don't take the wine allowed rule as a free pass if you're in the middle of a flare-up.
Definitely not.
I think it really helps to see how this works in real life. The source material had some fascinating case studies. Can we walk through those? Let's talk about patient A.
Yes, patient A is a classic example of what we see in clinics. He's a 55-year-old male, significantly overweight at 102 kilos.
Okay.
He has high triglycerides, over 250, and very high uric acid, over 8. He has gout, but he also has the full metabolic syndrome package.
So the standard advice would be stop eating meat. But for him, that wasn't the whole story?
No. The solution for patient A was a caloric deficit, about 2,400 calories a day, using a hybrid of the DSH and Mediterranean diets. The goal wasn't just lower uric acid, it was treat the metabolic syndrome.
So you treat the obesity and the metabolism, and the gout improves as a side effect.
Exactly. By losing visceral fat and eating complex carbs instead of simple sugars, his body stops producing so much internal uric acid in the first place.
Okay, now what about patient B? She was a bit different.
Right. Patient B is a 48-year-old female. She has hypertension and very severe insulin resistance. Her HOMA-IR score was 9.4, which is quite high.
And for her, the approach had to be different because of that insulin resistance, right?
Yes. For her, the Mediterranean diet was used, but with reduced carbohydrates down to about 40% of her intake to manage those insulin levels.
But not zero carb.
No. And this is a critical safety detail for anyone listening who thinks low carb means no carb. The dietitian ensured she still got 160 grams of carbohydrates.
Why that specific number? Why not just cut it lower?
Because the brain has a basic, non-negotiable requirement. Your brain needs about 130 grams of glucose a day just to function properly.
I did not know that.
If you restrict below that, you can cause other stress responses. So even a low-carb therapeutic diet, you absolutely have to fuel the brain.
That is such a good reminder. It's not about extremes, it's about precision.
Precision nutrition. That is the key.
So let's bring this all home. We've unpacked a lot today. The biggest takeaway for me is that high uric acid isn't just about your joints, it's a metabolic warning sign.
That's the most important point.
And while purines matter, fructose seems to be the hidden saboteur because it lacks that metabolic brake, leading to liver energy depletion and, well, acid waste.
That is a perfect summary. We need to stop looking at gout as a localized problem and start treating it as a systemic metabolic issue.
So the DSH and Mediterranean diets are a better path forward.
A much more sustainable and effective path than simply fearing protein.
So for the listener who wants to make a change today, based on this research, what are the top 3 things they should do?
First, look at what you drink. Choose water or unsweetened tea. Replace the sodas and the sweetened beverages immediately.
Simple enough.
Second, eat whole fruit, but do not drink fruit juice. The fiber is your protection.
Get the whole package.
And third, limit added sugars in processed foods to avoid that ATP depletion in the liver. Read the labels.
Simple, actionable, and backed by the biochemistry. I love it. Once again, if this science fascinates you, I want to remind you of the invitation to join the biotechnology research team at UTHM under Dr. Yuzvana. They are doing incredible work studying plant-based medicinal alternatives, and they are looking for bright minds to help with data collection and analysis.
We would welcome the collaboration. There is so much more to discover in this field, and we are eager to see what new solutions we can find together.
You can find the summary link for today's deep dive in the video description below. I want to express our utmost gratitude to technologist Dr. Rama Yuzvana for his enlightenment and his invaluable insights into the topics we've discussed. Thank you for making the complex simple.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And to you, the listener, next time you reach for that healthy glass of juice, just remember the traffic cop in your liver. Maybe grab the apple instead. Stay curious, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive. I have to admit, my brain is it's officially full. It's fascinating, but wow, it is heavy stuff.
For sure. And it is a lot to digest. We covered some really complex ground today, but we actually came up with a little something to help with that. We created a free PDF e-poster that sort of visually summarizes the key points we went over.
Oh, like a cheat sheet.
That's it, yeah. A cheat sheet for all the pathways and ideas.
I love that. A visual guide.
Precisely. So if you want to get it, all you have to do is just check the video description. You'll see an email address there. Just drop us a line to join the mailing list.
And you'll send it over.
And we'll send that poster directly to your inbox.
That is actually a huge help for reviewing this stuff. And it's, what, completely free?
Absolutely free.
Perfect. Well, there you have it. Go check the description, grab that poster, and we will see you in the next deep dive.